Hello, you guys, and welcome back to Mystical Visions. So, today we're going to do a new moon reading. We haven't done one of these in a while, and I thought with this new moon in Cancer being extremely intense for me personally, this would be the perfect reading to just get it out of my system and to hopefully bring you some really fun, interesting messages. So, I didn't feel called to pick crystals for you today, so we've just got 3 pre-shuffled piles. The way we're going to do this reading is we'll take a look at your overall energy, your highs this month in this new moon cycle, and we'll take a look at your challenges and lessons. And of course, there will be an animal spirit advice card, but also there's other oracle cards as well. So without much further ado, I'll give you guys some time with your 3 piles. Go ahead and pick one that calls to you intuitively. Timestamps are in the description. If you enjoy this video and you find it helpful, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. It really helps the channel out so much. And yeah, timestamps are below. I'll see you at your reading. Pile number 1, hello, welcome to your reading. So today we're going to take a look at what is coming your way this new moon in Cancer. So we'll take a look at the new moon cycle that we've just stepped into, what you can expect in the overall energy with these 4 cards. Then these 3 will tell us your highest points this month. These 3 will tell us your challenges and lessons this month. And then finally with this oracle card, will look at any advice that the universe has for you. So without much further ado, I don't want this to be an insanely long reading, though it probably will be. The first card we have for your overall energy is the 9 of Cups in reverse. It's the sense of your dreams not quite being fulfilled. It's like your deepest desires, you want them to come through, but they're not quite. But it doesn't feel like a sad, awful time, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like you're gonna be quite upset about it because these characters are still smiling in this card, and that's what I'm being drawn to here. Usually with the 9 of Cups in reverse, it talks about, your wishes being torn apart and you're just not getting to experience. But that's just not what's coming through. It feels like the things that you're asking for are being kind of repurposed or reframed. That's the word I'm looking for. They're being kind of reframed so that they are better aligned to your soul and your needs that you don't even realize you have. To clarify, we have the 10 of Swords also in reverse. Yeah. I feel like, okay, there's 2 ways this could go. Either, 1, your wish or your desires, things that you're trying to manifest, are not necessarily in your highest good or for your highest good. They are not really aligned to your soul's path. And that's going to become very evident to you this month. And you're going to struggle maybe to let them go a little bit, but the universe will convince you that it's time to let go of this desire because it's just not you. It's not best suited for you. Second, it could be that you're not quite there yet. Your wish might indicate the end of a cycle, the fulfillment. But with this 10 of Swords in reverse, it feels like you still have a little bit more learning and growing to do. But because these are 9s and 10s, you're almost there. You're so close. But it's just that the cycle is not finished yet. There is still a little more. There is at least 1 more lesson. Maybe it's the one that will come up today. But there's at least 1 or 2 more lessons to learn before this thing can manifest for you. Does that make sense? So the rest of your overall energy, we have the 7 of Wands also in reverse. Yeah, this is not gonna... Okay, so when I said there's more lessons to be learned, it's not like you're gonna have to work extra hard. It doesn't feel hectic. It doesn't feel like a struggle this month. It's more that the universe has not aligned everything quite yet. Maybe the lesson even isn't about you. Maybe it's about the other people who are involved in this manifestation, especially if you're manifesting a partner, since that was the first card that came through. Maybe they're not ready yet. Maybe your divine partner that you have a soul contract with isn't quite at the stage where they can fulfill their mission with you, and these things have to be perfectly aligned for them to work. And there's like an infinite number of probabilities and potentials and all of that stuff. So the universe is kind of trying to put it all together. I feel like you may have a little bit more to learn, but your person may have slightly more to learn, or whatever you're trying to manifest. That situation isn't quite ready for you yet, if that makes sense. So like you may be mostly ready for it. You may have like a little bit of like detail to work on, whereas the situation that you're asking for isn't quite there yet. So it might be more of a waiting game. To clarify, we have the moon in reverse as well, which is interesting because it's a moon reading and the new moon is in Cancer, which is naturally ruled by the moon. So lots of moon energy here. But the moon in reverse tells me that this is not going to be hidden from you. You're not going to be like, oh, I don't understand what's going on. Why is it taking so long for me to manifest this? And, things like that. You won't be left in the dark, because the moon upright usually talks about that, mysterious, cloudy energy. So to have it in reverse tells me that you will know exactly what's going on. The universe will not be shy with sending you signs about exactly what's happening, with sending you wisdom, flashes of insight about why things are taking as long as they are. You will know pretty much the whole time exactly what's going on. You just have to be open to receiving these messages. And with the moon being the only major arcana here, I do feel like this is an emotional thing. So it could very well be about a potential partner. Doesn't have to be. It could be like your soulmate job or your perfect living situation or anything like that. But it feels like something that you want that's perfectly almost customized to you, and that's going to take some time. That's kind of the overall energy here, is you learning maybe patience. Interesting. Okay, so what are your highest points this month, pile number 1? So to start with, we have the 5 of Swords in reverse. That is a good sign, because there is not going to be conflict. There's not going to be... Ooh, please don't burn. Okay. There's not going to be any ill will here. You're not going to feel upset about anything, really. Your highest point will be just overall joy, overall a feeling of cheer. Maybe you have a birthday coming up. Maybe there's like a reason to celebrate an anniversary, something like this. There's an overall energy of like contentment, everything's going exactly the way it should. And what's interesting is all of your cards are in reverse. Maybe you're not used to feeling like this. Maybe you're a warrior. And maybe this feeling of contentment is quite new to you, in that you're not used to feeling as chilled out about everything. Even though things aren't going exactly the way you want them to, you're not freaking out. You're not struggling. You're like understanding, making peace with the fact that things are going to take as long as they need to take. And it doesn't matter if it takes 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years. What I am destined for is going to come to me when the time is right. And I feel like you're going to have a moment this month where that just immediately clicks for you. And then suddenly you feel a sense of just intense freedom. I don't know any other way to put it. To clarify this, we have the magician. That's when your manifestation comes in. Or that's when you figure out exactly what you need to do to manifest like this final steps of healing. Oh, that's lovely. Another major arcana, and this is the only one that's upright as well. Yeah, I do think this month is going to teach you a lot about manifestation, how it works, how you can go about manifesting things, and what you actually want to manifest. Because it feels like maybe some of the desires you have for yourself and for your life are kind of things that society expects you to have. Maybe some of the things that you think you want for yourself are things that other people want for you so that you may conform to their idea of you. But maybe this month you're discovering that actually that's not me at all. That's not what I want. That's something that someone told me I should want. And then maybe that triggers a sense of freedom that lets you manifest your true desires, or lets you at least identify things that you truly want. And the oracle card we have here is Priestess. How are you being called to step up and lead? Maybe you're asking to manifest a leadership position, and the universe nudges you to define what you would be like as a leader before you can have the position. Maybe that's the little thing you need to work on. But it could also be your intuition finally kicking in. Maybe you've been struggling lately with your intuition just not doing the things that it normally does for you because of all this stress and fear and everything. But then when you release that stress, your intuition comes right in. It's like the floodgates have opened, and suddenly you're seeing prophetic dreams, you're getting clairvoyance, clairaudience, you're getting messages from the other realms. And that's when you realize, oh, when I step into my purpose, when I figure out what I want and start to work towards manifesting that, my intuition guides me, the universe guides me, I feel better connected to everyone and everything. My emotions are more stable, my life is more stable, I'm more abundant. But I do think your high point this month is less about the world around you and more about your internal world. It's more about you releasing emotional baggage. It's about you letting go of stress, of anxiety, of pain, or, struggles, or just a lack of individual identity in a spiritual sense. Maybe you absorb other people's desires as your own and think that that's the only way to be. And then this month, you start to release that and focus instead on what your desires are outside of all of these people. So your highest point this month, part 1, is definitely almost a sense of emotional freedom. But what is your challenge for this? Well, I keep saying month, I mean lunar cycle, which the word month has to do with the moon. So yeah, but anyway, what are your challenges in this new Cancer new moon cycle? We have the 3 of Coins, collaboration. What's interesting is this is usually quite a positive card. So for this to come up in a challenge situation, I feel like it really reinforces this thought of your desires almost being hijacked by other people. Maybe you find that when you want something, someone else wants it suddenly, and then you feel quite icky about it and force yourself to let it go. Or, like I said, other people have been kind of clouding your judgment when it comes to what you want for life. But what's interesting is, do you see the two faces in the back? They're quite, I don't think they're supposed to be demonic, but they feel quite angry, quite stress inducing in this. But you might come to a point where, despite these people in the back yelling and screaming, you're happy to dance to the beat of your own drum. But this will be your challenge. And when I say challenge, we generally think of challenges as difficulties. But in this context, I want you to understand that your challenge is that it's that little final boss battle that will get you to where you want to be. Your challenges are important because through those, we create change. We bring level ups into our life. We ascend as souls. It's through challenges. And so when I say this challenge is going to help you reconsider how much you've allowed other people to influence your life, that's a good thing, because that is what will create the change in your mind. That's what will drive you towards the idea that maybe you need a little more emotional sovereignty. Maybe you need a little more independence, right? To clarify, we have the Two of Swords in reverse. Okay. So you might be faced with a situation where you have no choice but to redo your internal monologue, to rethink how you see the world. With the Two of Swords upright, it usually talks about having a difficult decision to make, but knowing that you can trust your intuition to make this decision. Oh, maybe, okay, so maybe the challenge... Okay, maybe the challenge makes you realize just how difficult it's been to function without your intuition in tip-top shape. And as a result, that forces you to reconsider what your intuition is doing, what your psychic gifts are doing, and what you are doing in order to create such a big blockage where you can't even listen to your inner authority, you can't even listen to your inner truth. And maybe the challenge then is, how do I separate myself from the voices around me and start to turn inwards, because I'm clearly not doing that enough. And that may be the reason why my manifestations are not coming through. Does that make sense, Pearl One? I hope it does. I hope I'm not like ranting nonsense. But I do think your challenge is less of like a negative situation. I'm not saying it won't be difficult. It will be. That's what challenges are. They're supposed to be that way. But I also do feel like, for you especially, this challenge is absolutely necessary, because it is what will fuel that change, that shift inwards, where you then get to step up into this priestess energy. And your oracle card for this is Star Brothers, Horus energy. Protection, loyalty, safety, trust. Aw. I think this might just be the universe saying, like, chill. You know, this is going to be difficult, but you are safe, you are loved. You have a lot of spirit guides behind you. You might resonate with like Egyptian mythology, Egyptian folklore, Egyptian history even. You might be quite deeply connected to birds in some way, or you might have a very active third eye as well. But maybe in a literal sense, this might be you turning to a brother or a brother figure for help, if that makes sense. You know, like with the world around us, a lot of the time, our inner voice can be shaped by the people that we've spent our childhood with. And so if you find that you have a sibling that you trusted quite deeply, sometimes just hearing their voice and what they have to say, sometimes the universe channels messages through the people that we love. Right, so maybe if you do have a sibling, if you do have a brother especially, it might be worth reaching out when things get challenging. But also there is definitely a lot of safety, a lot of protection magic around you. Maybe you do a lot of protection spells. In either case, though, your energy is quite safe because this month doesn't feel like it's about the world around you. This month feels quite internal. And so you are protected while you go inwards and do all the inner work that you need to do. So finally, what's your advice for this new moon cycle? We have the squirrel spirit in reverse. Believe in yourself. I don't think the squirrel card has come out for me before. Because I don't remember saying the word squirrel. It's like one of my favorite words to say because it's so weird. The squirrel spirit in reverse. Believe in yourself. Oh yeah. Yeah. That ties in, right? Because we just spoke about like separating your desires from the desires that people have kind of imprinted upon you. And a lot of that may come from poor self-confidence. You may not have been allowed to have self-confidence for a lot of your life. Because that would make you an individual that cannot be tamed. Sadly, that is the world that a lot of us have grown up in. But it is time. It is time to step into your power and be your own person. I do think you might have a strong relationship with birds because in this card, she's got like a cape made of feathers as well. Interesting. But let's go ahead and read this from the book because, as always, I'm in love with this guidebook. I mean, the art for this deck is absolutely stunning, but oh boy, these messages always hit. So, Squirrel Spirit, believe in yourself protection message. The unpredictability of life can shake your confidence in yourself and your potential for handling the challenges that come your way. Does the thought of not having enough or being enough make you squirrely? Have you forgotten all your strengths, wisdom, and resources? You've come so far on your wits and creativity, making use of all your potential and all that spirit presents you to help you through life's trying times. Life loves you, and so many treasures are hidden in plain sight, ready to be revealed when you most need them. So relax. Squirrel Spirit wants you to know that you are poised and ready for whatever is coming next. So trust in yourself and trust that Spirit has your back. That was quite uplifting, Pile 1. So that's your message for the new moon in Cancer. I hope it resonated and brought you some support and clarity. And if it did, please remember to give it a big thumbs up and comment below what pile you picked and how this message resonates for you. I would love to hear it. Subscribe to my channel for more readings. Thank you so much for spending some time and sharing your energy with me and letting me read for you today. I do hope it helped. Stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pile number 2. Hello, welcome to your reading about what you can expect in this new moon in Cancer cycle that we've just stepped into. So the way I've arranged this reading is that these 4 cards will give us a general overview of your month ahead, or of the new moon cycle ahead. These 2 tarot and 1 oracle cards will give us your highs of this month, what you can expect to go really, really well. These 3 cards will tell us about your challenges and lessons this month. And then finally, with this 1 animal spirit oracle card, we'll take a look at any advice there is for you from the universe. So without much further ado, let's dive in. What is your overall energy for this month? We have the 7 of Coins. Investment. I think this month you're going to invest in yourself in some way. Or maybe even invest money in some way, which I guess is an investment for yourself. But in either case, you'll be consciously putting something aside to improve your life, to bring you returns. It's like you're not spending your money on instant gratification, but rather you're investing it in something that will help you longer term. I should mention, when I was shuffling your cards, pile 2, this was the most chaotic pile. So maybe this month you're slowing down. Maybe you've had a chaotic first half of the year, and now things are finally starting to chill out a little bit, and you're taking the time to focus on yourself, to invest time and money into yourself. Maybe you're pampering yourself, or it could be you're investing in skills training. Maybe you're considering a different career, or just promotions, and that requires you to have different skills. Something like this, something that will help you grow in the long term. And it may not be an instant gratification, but you know that this is important for your trajectory. To clarify the 7 of Coins, we have the 2 of Wands in reverse. So the 2 of Wands upright talks about looking into the future, looking out on the horizon. So to have it in reverse kind of tells me that this may be something you've wanted to invest in for a very long time, and the time is finally here where everything is aligned. You have the resources, you have the means by which to invest. So maybe previously you didn't know how to invest in this, and now you have the knowledge as well. Maybe you didn't know where to invest, and now you know. In either case, you're putting something aside for a rainy day, and that is wonderful. It almost feels like this is the first time in your life you've had an excess that you could invest. You've probably never had this much money before that you could even consider moving beyond the basic necessities and moving into investing for your future. This feels like a very abundant time, and maybe the chaos of the first half of the year has led you to this. Maybe you've worked insanely hard from January to June, and then now you're finally like, I've made all this money, and now I'm going to put it somewhere safe where it will grow without me actively having to work like I have done this whole time. That's wonderful. It's so practical. It's so practical, pile 2. Next we have the Knight of Cups. Oh, you're stepping into a time where you can enjoy the fruits of your labor. There might be new love coming your way. I'm just gonna put that out there. There might be new love coming your way. But it could also just be you finally taking the time to actively love on yourself. You're probably being able to spend some time pampering yourself. Maybe that's the kind of investment. Maybe you book a spa weekend or a vacation, get massages, get manis and pedis, get your nails and your hair done. Just do things that you wouldn't normally do for yourself. Because those are worthwhile investments as well. To pamper yourself teaches you how you deserve to be treated, which then allows you to make sure that you're not taking less than what you deserve moving forward, Nothing is ever a frivolous expense, especially if you invest in yourself. And this is all worthwhile investment. But also I do see very romantic energy. It doesn't have to be a literal romance. It could be if you're looking, but it doesn't have to be. It could just be you being surrounded by things that you love, things that are aesthetically pleasing, things that make you happy, emotionally fulfilling things. To clarify, we have the Emperor in reverse. Yeah, this definitely tells me that you're being allowed to take a backseat right now. Because the Emperor upright is that Aries go-getter, like fiery leadership energy. And this month, this new moon cycle that we've just stepped into, it feels like, oh, I can finally breathe. I can finally chill out. I don't have to be the point of contact for like a million people. I don't have to be here for every single person. I can just sit down for a minute. I can catch my breath. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting for you. Very relaxed, very healing month for you. Not that you're in pain or anything, but it feels like you've been just go on your feet this whole time. And now you can finally breathe. So what is your highest point this month, Pile 2? We have the Two of Swords in reverse. That's interesting. The Two of Swords has come out in the other deck for a different reading today, and that was also in reverse. I feel like you don't have to make decisions anymore. You don't have to think. Your highest point is going to be the fact that you don't have to make a decision. You don't have to choose. You can have everything you want, right? So it's either, you don't have to work. Maybe your work involves making a lot of difficult choices or passing judgment on things. And you're taking a break, which means a break from having to make difficult decisions. But also it could be that maybe, like I said, this is probably the first time you've had so much abundance in terms of money, in terms of time, and you don't have to choose what you will do with a limited resource because your resources are not quite as limited as they've been this whole time. And so you have the luxury of not having to choose. You have the luxury of saying, I'll take it all. I'll have it all. I don't have to decide which one I like more. I like them all. And so I will have them all just because I want them. And that is a wonderful place to be in for you specifically, because I do feel like you've always had to sacrifice one thing for another. You've always had to decide which one you like less, that you can give up so you can have the other thing. And now you're stepping into an energy where you don't have to. Where you can save, spend, and invest. That is so cool. I'm so happy for you, Pile 2. To clarify, we have the Five of Cups in reverse. So the Five of Cups upright talks about crying over spilt milk, not realizing that you have two cups standing here still. To have it in reverse definitely tells me that you recognize this. You recognize how important this moment is for you. That is your highlight. Ooh, that was a big car horn. Confirmation. Yeah, you recognize that this is something you've never been through before. You've never had the opportunity to experience before. And I definitely see a lot of gratitude. A lot of that corny saying, the attitude of gratitude. I do see that for you. I do see you being in that energy of, this is the best my life has ever been, and I am so grateful. And that is such a lovely headspace to be in, Pile 2, because it's so important that when we have good times, we also have good vibes. It's so important that when we have a good time, we can recognize that, because otherwise it's going to fly by and then we're going to look back at it and be like, I did not make the most of it. So this is excellent because your headspace is matching up to the world that's unfolding for you. And it's just perfect synergy. Oh, this is such a wonderful, abundant, prosperous time for you. Oh my goodness. The Oracle card is Mirror. Ooh. Who or what is triggering you? You might find that because this is so new, it might trigger some old wounds. But why is this in the high point reading? Maybe that is your grounding moment. Maybe when you get wrapped up in the joy of this all, it might trigger you a little bit. It might trigger some old insecurities, but that kind of makes you realize just how different your life is today than it was even just a year ago. It might trigger some poverty wounds. It might trigger some, scary times from the past. But as long as you keep that attitude of gratitude, pile 2, I think you'll start to realize that this situation has come your way because you're ready to heal those wounds. Because the universe sees you as having healed most of them, really. But this time in your life might hold up a mirror to all the healing you still need to do, all the healing that's left to do. In either case, though, I do feel like you're in an abundant energy. It could also be that this might be a time you meet your perfect match, your counterpart, your divine counterpart, because with the Knight of Cups here and the Emperor in reverse as well, the Emperor upright is a almost like a solitary, hyper independent card. And so to have that in reverse under the Knight of Cups might mean that you are probably used to being hyper independent and you're stepping into a time of abundance where you feel like you finally have your life together enough that you're ready to welcome someone else into it. And then that might trigger you a little bit. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing, because when we are triggered, it triggers healing. And that means you will eventually get to a point where you're ready for your person to come in. Right? That may be why this has come out in like the high points for you today. Sorry if my voice is going a little raspy. I'm still healing from allergies. Okay, so let's talk about your challenges. What are your challenges in this new moon cycle? So first we have strength. Ooh. Okay, interesting. There might be situations where you will have to be strong. You'll have to... Oh, okay. I just had a flash of like pretty much exactly what this might be, so take it if it resonates. But while you're celebrating, you might find a little bit of workaholism coming up. Because you've spent the last 6 months just on your grind constantly, you might feel like relaxation is almost icky. You might hate the idea of sitting down doing nothing just because you're in the groove of working so hard. But as a result, you might find that taking a break, pampering yourself, investing in yourself, using that money to make yourself happy, it might make you feel like you need to go back to earning it because you worry that you might lose it all. And I think the strength here is talking about you setting a boundary with yourself, you reteaching yourself a healthy relationship with work and money, you teaching yourself to be strong in the face of the guilt that comes with taking a break. You might very well be a workaholic, and you might associate yourself with how hard you work. And so you might be struck with guilt when you finally take a break. And you're going to have to stay strong through that. To clarify strength, we have death in reverse. 2 major arcana. This is a big challenge, whatever you're facing. But I think the death here is trying to remind you that you're not Just because you're taking a break doesn't mean you'll never work again. It doesn't mean your opportunities are going to be gone forever. It's a pause, not a stop, right? It's not the end of a cycle. I feel like you're still very much in the middle of your abundance cycle right now. But because you've taken a break, you might have fears come up that might tell you, like, hey, you better get back on it because this is not going to last. It is going to last. And with strength being that fixed fire Leo energy, it's definitely going to last quite a bit longer than you think. Because you feel that kind of pinch of, should I be getting back to work? Am I wasting time? Am I losing time? Am I taking a break and then just doing myself a disservice? No, you're not. No, you're not. What you're doing is replenishing. Right? And just because you've taken time out doesn't mean that you are spitting in the face of your opportunities. It doesn't mean you're being disrespectful to your work. It doesn't mean you're disrespectful to your client. It just means that you are prioritizing your recovery. And that doesn't make it the end of your work cycle. It doesn't make it the end of your abundance cycle. It just means that you're chilling for a little bit. And that's okay. And the Oracle card is the Great Severing. Mars energy, anger, conflict, softening to love. So it definitely feels like this time of abundance is teaching you to break some seriously damaging old thought patterns. Pile 2, it feels like, again, that Mars fiery energy, and the Emperor is Aries, which is ruled by Mars as well. I think, and Death is Scorpio, which is also ruled by Mars. I think you're in an energy of like, your body is tired, your mind is tired, but your subconscious is still in like work and grind mode, and you're not able to cool down from it. It's like when you've done like a heavy cardio day and your heart rate is all the way up, but your muscles can't do anymore. And so you have to do a conscious cool down to gently bring your heart rate down again, right? I did cardio today, hence the analogy. But it is important to make that distinction in your mind of, that was work time, now it's relaxed time. So how can I gently bring my anxiety, my stress, my mindset back down to like a calmer level, to a point where I can chill out? How do I end cycles that force me to stay in that high energy, cortisol, adrenaline cycle? How can I end those cycles so that I can actually allow myself to relax and enjoy the fruits of my labor? I'm surprised the 9 of Pentacles hasn't come up here, because that's the kind of energy I'm getting. You're finally enjoying the harvest. But you need to allow yourself to. Otherwise, you're just going to waste this moment. So finally, what advice does Spirit, the universe, have for you for this cycle? We have Wolf Spirit, turn knowledge into wisdom. That to me definitely feels like this transition time between work and relaxation, because work is you gathering the knowledge, doing all the external stuff, all the divine masculine stuff, the yang cycle, and then the relaxation, that yin cycle, the divine feminine cycle, is where you take everything that you did and you process it. You turn that knowledge that you gathered into wisdom that you can translate into other situations and you can keep for the rest of your life. It does feel like you're stepping into your yin cycle for a little bit now, just to process everything, to heal, to grow, to figure out what just happened in the first half of the year, because I do feel like it was so crazy chaotic for you. You may not have had a moment to sit down and understand any of it. It was so fast-paced. But I always like to read these from the book. So number 67... Wolf Spirit, turn knowledge into wisdom. Wolf Spirit leads you deep into the enchanted forest that holds the secrets to your life. Can you sense her beckoning you to follow, asking you to take all you have learned and all you are learning and make it yours? Can you integrate it all into your body, mind, and spirit? Whatever lessons you learned along the way, do not leave them unexamined. Be still and know that the sound of your heart beats. Be still and know that the sound of your heart beats in harmony with the whole world. The appearance of Wolf Spirit is an auspicious omen that says you are truly in alignment with your destiny. Beautiful. So that was your message for the new moon in Cancer, pile 2. I really hope it resonated and it brought you some support and clarity. If it did, please remember to like and subscribe. Comment below which pile you chose and how this resonated for you. You can always, subscribe to my channel and look at more readings, because I do one of these pretty much every week. Thank you so much for taking some time today to spend with me, to share your energy with me and letting me read for you. I really do hope this helped. Stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Pile number 3. Hello, welcome to your reading about what you can expect in the new moon and Cancer cycle that we've just stepped into. So I've laid the cards out, pre-shuffle them as always. These first 4 cards are going to tell us your overall energy for the new moon in Cancer, what you can look forward to, like a general overview. With these cards, we'll take a look at your highest points this month, your happiest moments that you can look forward to. These cards will tell us your challenge going forward or any lessons that you might learn in this cycle. And then finally, with this animal spirit card, we'll take a look at any advice that the universe may have for you today. So yeah, without much further ado, let's just dive right in. When I was shuffling your cards, I felt like they were being a little standoffish. Maybe you're in a standoffish energy right now, but we'll see. We have the 8 of Wands in reverse. Things are slowing down, or things are maybe not going as fast as you want them to. This seems to be like a common message for this season, which makes sense because Cancerian energy is quite chill. It's quite home and comfort and emotions and all of like the slow stuff. So that makes sense. But also it does feel like you may be trying to rush something. And this month is going to show you in no uncertain terms that you can't rush perfection. You can't rush the good stuff. You need to sit down and go through all of the motions, and only then do you get to enjoy the good stuff. But let's see what this is about. To clarify, we have the Knight of Cups. Okay. This might be a relationship. Maybe you're trying to speedrun a relationship. Maybe you're the kind of person who likes to go from like A to Z immediately. So you meet someone, you're immediately thinking about what your new married name sounds like, what your children's faces will look like. And then, you kind of rush into it. And then the other person is like, whoa, where did this come from? That's a bit much for me. And not only are you doing them a disservice, you're doing yourself a disservice, because a lot of the times when we speedrun relationships like this, and I do think this is about love, so if you have someone in mind, then this is definitely your reading. But a lot of the times when we speedrun relationships like this, we're not really getting to know the person. We're not really deciding if we even like the person. We're just kind of inserting them into a scenario that we've made up in our head a long, long time ago, right? We go into relationships with expectations of how they should turn out. And the first person that comes along, we just kind of stick them into this careful cutout that we've put in our scenario. And we just kind of stick them in there and we hope that that will work. But in doing so, you're missing out on the opportunity to really get to know people, to learn from them, to learn, how life is from their perspective, to teach them how life is from your perspective. You can't speedrun love because then you miss out on love. That's interesting. So that seems to be like a general, chill out, patience. We have the King of Coins. Yeah, it's that sense of emotional permanence, I think, for you, Pal 3. I think the reason you feel the need to speedrun things is the reason you feel the need to speedrun things is because you worry that it won't last unless you force it to. Yep, there's that honking. That's confirmation. I don't know if the mic caught that, but there was just like a beep beep. Which makes me think of the Roadrunner. That's funny. That's speedy, isn't it? But yeah, I think this month is going to teach you emotional permanence. It's going to teach you that just because things aren't moving super, 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 super fast doesn't mean they are regressing. Just because things are taking the time that they need to take, need being the key word, doesn't mean that it's not going to go anywhere. There is this notion of love at first sight. I knew immediately they were the one. And for some people that works, for others it doesn't. But you can't expect every single relationship and every single person that you meet to find that works for them. And you can't expect yourself to find that works for you either. Just because it's grand and romantic doesn't make it good or right. Right? And this month is going to teach you the idea of just because someone isn't taking this to the next level within 2 weeks of knowing me doesn't mean that they don't like me. What they have said to me still carries over to tomorrow, even if they don't put a ring on my finger tomorrow. To clarify the King of Coins, we have the 8 of Cups. Yeah, you might be a chronic walker awayer. You might be someone who's you'll rush connections, and then when they don't go to the pace that you want them to go to, you'll just leave. And, we've all been there. We've all faced that fear of, someone not committing and then worrying that means they don't like you or whatever. But I think this month is going to give you that emotional maturity that allows you to distinguish between what is a true red flag and what is an imagined red flag, right? It's funny, this person is wearing reds as well. In fact, there's a lot of reds here. Maybe you're dealing with a fire sign, or maybe you are a fire sign, and that could explain the impatience, which, hello, my people. But this month definitely feels like an emotional level up that is teaching you to slow down and enjoy the slower things, especially when it comes to relationships. So what is your highest point this month, Pal 3? We have the 3 of Cups in reverse. Okay, interesting. So usually you want this card to come out upright because it talks about celebration and, spending time with your friends and this and that, parties and all of that stuff. But to have it in reverse almost feels like a relief. It feels like you're finally discovering the joy of solitude. It feels like you're finally realizing, I don't need to be rushing constantly. I don't need to be surrounded by people all the time. I don't need to be go, 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 go all the time, especially when it comes to relationships. And it doesn't just have to be romantic relationships, maybe even in platonic friendships, you may find yourself going way too far out of your comfort zone, way too far out of the way, just to make people happy, because you worry that if you don't do every single thing, if you don't go to every single party, that you might get dropped out of a friendship group. And that may have happened to you in the past. And, it's fair enough. We all have that fear. We have a fear of isolation. Humans are not meant to live outside of the community. There is strength in numbers, and I understand that. However, it is just as important, if not more important, to build a solid relationship with yourself first, right? How many times have you seen that you're able to go out of your way to do things for yourself? Are you giving yourself the same love and attention and, eagerness that you give to all these other connections in your life? And I think this emotional development this month is going to teach you the power of turning some of that intense love and eagerness and excitement energy to yourself, rather than trying to please every single person in the hope that they'll keep you in their lives. You're focusing on being the person that you would keep in your life. And also you're learning about whether you actually want certain types of people in your life. Because I think so far you've fallen into the trap of the first person that shows me a little bit of attention, a little bit of affection, I'm going to hold on to them and never let go. I'm going to dig in and stick with it. Even if they eventually show themselves to be just bad people, I'm still going to stick to it, right? That might be your dynamic so far. And then this month, you're feeling that release of, actually, I have a choice here. I can choose not to have these people in my life anymore if I want to. And that doesn't mean that I will be alone forever. I do think there's a solid fear of loneliness here, which I resonate with so strongly, Pile 3. So this is not coming from a place of judgment at all. Okay? It's just that when you do your healing, when you learn that you are enough, you start to be more discerning about the people that you allow into your life. You don't just make relationships and build friendships based on the fear of being alone, but you build them based on actually valuable things like common interests, like sense of humor, like, how you see the world, how they see the world, how you can learn and grow together as a dynamic. Those are the important things, not this fear of like, if this person doesn't put a ring on my finger within 6 months of meeting me, then they are not the one. That's not how it goes. To clarify, we have the Queen of Wands. Yes, you're stepping into your strong, independent woman energy. You don't have to identify as a woman. That's not the point. The point is this feeling of self-governance, right? And I think that is one of the most important things that emotional permanence teaches you, is the idea of you being in charge of how you feel. And that is a severely underrated ability, let me tell you now. Especially with like the influencer culture that we have in the world today. It's like we are almost told we're almost like subliminally expected to follow hive mind. We're almost like expected to be influenced, to have our emotions manipulated by popular culture, by wanting to fit in. And when you take that power back, when you take that emotional sovereignty back, Pile 3, you will feel a kind of passion and excitement for life that you've never felt before. And I see that coming for you this month. The Oracle card is Mintaka. Longing for home, belonging, the original light workers. Yeah, it's that sense of belonging that you're seeking outside. But I feel like, do you see how this mermaid is sat in solitude? I do feel like you will almost be forced into solitude this month, and you may hate it at first. You may be like, why am I being forced to do this when I so desperately want to be around people? I want to be loved. I want to be held. I want to be cherished. Yes, you can't do any of that unless you do it for yourself first. Unless you know how that feels, you're not going to be able to manifest it. And the only way to know how that feels is to give yourself it. And this month, your blessing is your understanding of this. Like, it's really going to click for you. And then as a result, it's going to be like learning a skill that then leads you to unexpected riches. Pile 3. You're going to learn to love yourself. You're going to learn what your rituals are with yourself. You're going to learn how you make yourself happy, how you can be made happy, so that when you do enter relationships, you know what you want and you can ask for it, because there is immense power in asking for what you want from the people that love you, because only then can they love you the way you want to be loved. This is a powerful time for you, Pile 3. So what are your challenges and lessons for this month? Let's start with the Tower. Ooh, I just heard, I was afraid of this. Maybe that was the first thought you just had. The Tower. No one wants to see the Tower because it is intense change and sudden dramatic change. But I do feel that the Tower only shows up when this is necessary change. This is an important moment in your evolution as a soul. And I feel like that's just the theme we've looked at so far in your reading, is the idea of just completely changing your perspective on love and relationships and friendships, obviously. When I say love, I mean every form of love. With the Tower here, you might find that your pre-existing notions come crashing down. You might go through like a massive emotional release at this time. You might have a moment where you feel like the last few years of your life, even the last however long you've been in the relationships that you've been in, you've been around people that you know now. That whole time, you didn't even know if you liked these people. You just keep them around because you want to like hoard people, because you're afraid they will go away or they'll be taken away from you. And I think that entire mindset is coming crashing down for you this month. Pile number 3. And that's a good thing. It's so scary. It's so scary. When that illusion is shattered and you start to see people for who they are, it is so horrifying, because it feels like, you know, in the Truman Show, where everyone is a paid actor, essentially, and Jim Carrey's the only one who doesn't know this is happening. And then when he finds out, everyone around him just suddenly becomes just a completely different person to him. It's like you were complicit in me feeling awful, and I didn't even know it. I thought you loved me, and I thought I loved you. It feels like a Truman Show type moment, honestly, because it's the illusion is shattered, but that also means that you now see a lot clearer, and now you can actually do yourself several favors when you're picking your new friends, your new partners. Maybe you won't even have to replace anyone in your life. Maybe it's just that your dynamic with them changes. Maybe you show up more authentically in your relationships, as opposed to showing up in a people-pleasing energy, you know? And that's okay. It's good, in fact. It means you're a better person now. We are always told that to express our desires and to express our expectations from relationships is us being too high maintenance. But the truth is, the healthiest relationships occur when you're able to ask for what you want. Because no one's that psychic. No one can tell exactly what you want from moment to moment unless you ask for it. And this is something I've learned very recently, right? So it's important to step up for yourself and let go of your previous conditioning in this instance. We also have the 10 of Wands in reverse. Yeah, you're not carrying that burden anymore. And it's going to feel so weird. But it's almost like the universe is forcing you to drop it. It's like, drop it or I'll make you. You know, let it go or I'll make you. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting here. It's like you want so desperately to hold on to that illusion that you created in your mind about these people, that romanticized version of your life where you don't want anything, you just want to be loved. And in order to achieve that, you will do anything for these people, even if it goes against what you want out of a relationship or a friendship. And now you're being faced with the fact that that hasn't served you at all. Now you're surrounded by lies that you've created. And I'm not calling you, well, I am calling you a bit of a liar, I'm sorry. But I mean in terms of like the lies you've said about you not needing anything from your relationships. We all need things from relationships. That's why we have them. If we didn't, we'd never have any. We need companionship. We need support. We need emotional kindness. We need someone to hold us when things get rough. And when you enter a relationship in a self-sacrificing state, you're essentially doubling up everyone else's job, because not only do they have to ask you for what they want, they then have to kind of guess what you want as well. It's not doing anyone any favors. And so your biggest lesson this month is going to be about figuring out what you want out of your connections and learning how to ask for it. We have trust the timing. Trust the wave that you came in on. Time is not running out. What did I say about speedrunning relationships right at the beginning? You're also definitely learning about divine timing. You're definitely learning about trusting that things will happen when they are meant to happen. But the point is that you enjoy the ride there, because otherwise, when these things happen, you won't be able to fully appreciate it. And that is a massive, massive lesson that you're learning this month. So finally, let's look at your animal spirit guide. We have Moth Spirit in reverse. Surrender now. There we go. Stop trying to control everything. Power free. I feel like, yeah, control is definitely a big issue here because, like I said, you want these people to stay in your life and you will do anything it takes to keep it that way. And I do think that comes from a very controlling mindset. I'm just straight roasting you here. I'm so sorry. That's not my intention. What I'm trying to say is that a habit of being controlling comes from a space of fear of loss mostly. And so when we try to control our relationships and our friendships by carefully, what's a nicer word for manipulating? Molding them, for carefully molding them, or molding yourself rather to be exactly what these people need, that's controlling behavior as well. Because you're essentially lying in order to keep someone in your life. And you may never have seen it that way before, but I'm not here to play games with you. I'm here to tell you the honest truth, part free. And it is important to surrender that control. It's important to let go and trust that even if you are just yourself, even if you are just the most authentic version of yourself, the people that love you will love you. In fact, they'll love you more for it because everyone understands how much courage it takes to ask for what you want. But let's go ahead and read this from the book. Number 39. I don't know, that might be a significant number for you. Moth Spirit, surrender now. Protection message. Moth Spirit can be intense, and honesty about your own compulsive tendencies is needed right now. It is too easy to switch from one addiction to another, distracting yourself from the discomfort of uncertainty and the thoughts and emotions that arise when you aren't single-mindedly pursuing a goal. Now is a time to do a fearless inventory so that your addictive tendencies can be toned down and rechanneled into enthusiastic activity in moderation. Listen to Moth Spirit's message that a change is needed to support your well-being. Yeah, I do think there is like an addictive tendency towards people. You can very well be addicted to other people. Like it's genuinely a thing, right? And I think this is definitely a time where you're learning to release that. You're learning to at least start releasing that and embrace your individuality instead. Powerful time for you, Pile 3, but that's your reading for this new moon in Cancer. I really hope it resonated and brought you some support and clarity. And if it did, please remember to like and comment below which pile you picked and how this resonated for you, because I'm really curious to hear. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your time and energy with me today and letting me read for you. I really do hope it helps. Subscribe to my channel for more readings, and you can always stick around to the outro for another reading on my channel. But yeah, thanks for being here, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!